Now, the youth weekend is this weekend.
Yeah, and it's been bird
And
season,
then
right?
muzzleloader and all that starts, and we go all the way to December 7th. So if you're in the woods, wear hunter orange. If you're a hunter, visit our website, merrimacoutdoors.org, and see what properties allow hunting and which ones don't.
That includes your dogs. Put hunter orange on your dogs.
On your dogs, yeah, that's a great idea. Yep. So I have no other announcements except that Lauren won't be with us tonight. Anyone else have anything? All right, so that takes care of that. Anyone from the public wish to speak? All right, that takes us to appointments. There aren't any. And go to the statutory advisory business, and we're here to talk about a wetland permit for review and recommendation to New Hampshire DES if the commission so chooses. And with that, I'm going to step away and let Matt run the meeting from this point, for this point. So,
Thanks, Tim.
yeah. I do have all the plan sets, and I have a small version that we've got in case you need it. So, Ken?
Thank you, Tim. And good evening once again. Ken Clinton with Meridian Land Services on behalf of Tamazian Drive LLC. Last month I was here. We talked about the preliminary wetlands permit and the subdivision plan and design as a whole. At that time, we were about to have a planning board meeting, and I sought whatever level of endorsement the commission felt was appropriate on a few matters. I did receive the email, Matt, I think you penned and then came through Tim on its way to the planning board, so I do have that. I saw your comments, made sense to me. If you'd like, I can go through those comments and just give an update of what's occurred since I've been here last, and then answer any questions relative to the wetlands permit and the subdivision as a whole. If that's okay with you, Matt.
That would be great. So, just sort of for the commission, we have the ability to comment on this permit to DES. So, listen with that ear.
Well, there's not a whole lot as far as the design goes, but once again, I'll start with the comments through Matt in his email. He has 4 items, and he has item number 1 as the wetland permit was preliminary, and we had not filed it officially. What was filed is slightly different from the one I presented, not in much of its content, only in the sense that our design, when we first did our crossing, was a 2-to-1 slope, side slope through the wetlands, which means it's steeper than the regulations. Although we did receive a waiver to allow that steeper side slope, which then would reduce the wetland impact. There was enough concern out of the DPW, town engineer, had not had a good enough opportunity to weigh in and voice his concerns about that waiver item, and expressed that to the planning board, who said they would be happy to reconsider that waiver at the next planning board meeting. And we felt it was prudent to comply with his preferred 3-to-1 side slope. We're talking about a square footage of about 600 square feet of impact in total, and we're still around the 3,100 square foot threshold that I shared with you the first time. It's not a very large crossing to begin with, and so we complied with his 3-to-1 side slope preference. Therefore, when we go back before the planning board in a few weeks, we'll say this was, there's no need to reconsider the waiver. We do have it technically, however, we're not, quote unquote, utilizing it. So the overall design that we shared last, or I shared last, is the same. Item number 2 speaks to the National Heritage Bureau review. We discussed the presence in the general area of this project of certain turtles that were either threatened and or endangered. Fish and Game had not at that point provided us with their full comments on that. They have since done that. A couple of recommendations from Fish and Game were that we change our culvert to a 36-inch culvert in size, increase the size to allow for a slightly larger travel corridor if a turtle so wished to go through it, and also to make the culvert, instead of a plastic pipe, which is fairly standard nowadays, and make it a reinforced concrete pipe, an RCP pipe. The thoughts by Fish and Game was perhaps that would hold there'd be some moisture content in the pipe, and therefore encourage perhaps some sort of, moss type growth that would, as opposed to a plastic pipe, which would stay relatively clean and not have a lot of pores as things for natural growth to adhere to, make it reinforced concrete pipe. So we did that as well.
How long's that pipe roughly?
Oh boy, I don't have the final numbers because we had to extend the pipe.
Right.
It had been about 60 feet, as I recall, when it was the 2-to-1 slopes. Perhaps that could add another couple sections of pipe. 16 feet is a guess, perhaps. I wouldn't be surprised if it was in the 75, 76 foot range as far as overall length. I'm assuming, if you think about, does that go to the how suitable or how desirable it is for a turtle to go through that
Right.
pipe compared to up and over the slopes? Well, put it this way. I don't think there's a substantial difference between the length of the pipe between 60 and 76. However, the slope factor, if you think of 2-to-1 slopes versus a relaxed or more gradual 3-to-1 slopes, I'm not sure what a turtle would prefer, but it's
I'm not sure they're really going to think ahead.
the equation of which is more suitable for a turtle to cross. Perhaps the side slopes might be a little bit more accommodating at 3-to-1 slopes.
Yep.
Overall. So I'm not sure that there's a net loss or gain there as far as being able to get by. I might suspect that it's better with the 3-to-1. So from that standpoint, we are complying with some of the recommendations. Just so you know, one of the recommendations was to extend our riprap on the outlet side, which is the side towards the Sauhegan River. We have designed what's called a purge pool, which is a depression in our riprap. Normally you might see riprap and it's fairly even and flat, and it flows out, and it takes a longer length of riprap to slow down water as it exits the pipe. If you have what's called a purge pool, which is, if you take a look at the middle of these desks, if you think of a convex shape, a bowl, if you will, with riprap in it, the water will go in there and it'll slow down, it'll churn, it'll exit out. We have a purge pool. They considered or recommended that we consider getting rid of that and having the longer riprap pattern, which would actually substantially increase our wetlands permit, because it's along the outlet flow of that seasonal perennial stream. We decided not to do that. It wasn't in the best interest of anything, quite frankly. And lastly, they recommended that we consider using some round, like beach stone riprap, as opposed to what's normally seen as a more jagged and rough edge granite type riprap chunks. And once again, that's going to increase the velocity of water flowing through. So if we made them both round edge beach type stone, as well as a longer riprap footprint, it would have taken more riprap than normal to slow down the same flow. So then it would even that much more increase the wetland impact. So we struck a balance between some of the recommendations and went with the 36-inch, the larger RCP or the larger pipe that's required, making it RCP material, but not necessarily limiting the purge pool, or going with the round stone. So we struck a balance there. They're an advisory board. We took their recommendations to heart and applied what we thought was reasonable. And that's what we've forwarded on through the commission and on up to the state. Any questions on those first two?
So you staying with that 2-to-1 slope or the 3-to-1?
We're
slope?
3-to-1.
3-to-1.
Yep. Yep. Both the wetlands permit and the set of plans that's gone off to CLD for review reflects the 3-to-1 side slope.
But you still have a 2-to-1 waiver.
Technically, we do. I mean, we could. We go back before the planning board. Let's see, that'll be November 18th, I believe. And at that point, we can let them know that we're not using that waiver. If they would like to rescind it, it's their prerogative. It really makes no difference to us. Item 3 states the commission recommends that the deeds of the 19 properties, once again 19 lots in the subdivision, includes guidance regarding non-use of salt, de-icing compounds, and only low phosphate, slow release nitrogen fertilizers, etc. We've talked about this in other projects. We touched on it last time I was here. I felt it was, while it's a worthy item to note in discussion and perhaps in the planning process, but ultimately these items are virtually unenforceable from a town standpoint, and to include quote-unquote guidance, and I'm not sure what that means in the deeds, that the deeds include some sort of guidance, I wouldn't say that's entirely appropriate. I'm not sure how that's done, that a deed, if it's not a right, a restriction, some sort of encumbrance on the property or benefit to the property, it doesn't belong in a deed. As far as guidance goes, I'm not sure as a realtor shows a property, whether it's the first time sale of the lot after it's created or subsequent down the line, I'm not sure that a realtor has any, need or has any could be beholden to providing that type of advice. So this is the first time I've seen this type of recommendation in any Conservation Commission document, and I'd prefer not to do that. I don't think it's proper, but once again, in the past, I've said I will bring this comment forward to the planning board and ultimately let them make the decision. I'm just giving you a comment that I personally don't think it's appropriate, but I will bring it forward.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's really.
And they did receive this, by the way. I mean, the board did, maybe they didn't have a lot of time to look at this. I think it was maybe the day before, the day of the meeting, I can't recall what. I hadn't received a copy prior to the meeting, so I didn't even know it existed. So when I showed up, they said, oh, well, I'm coming back. I'm making revisions to the plan. I'll be back and I'll have time to address this. And so that's how I intended to address it with the planning board. And then item 4 had to do with the overall open space. We talked about its size, its configuration, its, I guess, addition, if you will, to the Ireland parcel next door. Our desire as far as the applicant and us as the consultants to try to get that to be, in a more formal sense, overseen by the town, most appropriately through your commission. So we would like to gift that to the town is still the intent. Planning board has not said yes, we'd like to support that. We have not gone to town council to say, would you be willing to accept a gift of the open space acreage? However, it's our desire to, and with that goes hand in hand our preference to hope that the Conservation Commission can formally vote to oversee the open space, which is about 25 acres. Once again, wraps around the subdivision, is directly adjacent to the Ireland town land, and then extends along the Souhegan River. So that would be my hope, that the commission could officially take a position on that as well. So those are my updates and comments relative to the memo that was issued in late September, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions that the board has.
So, were there any other changes to the proposed permit other than the 3 that you mentioned, the side slope, the culvert construction, and the culvert length?
No, that was it.
That was it? Okay.
Yeah.
And it isn't your application hasn't been submitted yet at this
sure
point?
it has.
Oh, it has?
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Oh, absolutely.
So that version that we have now is the final.
Dated September 10th.
That that is likely final?
I have my copy here in front of me, and we submitted. We did have all of the required full books in bound packages, so I'm not sure. You may have a copy of just the application pages itself with less of the supporting documentation, stormwater management report, et cetera. But those were all filed through the clerk's office. on or about September 30th, I think, is actually when it was revised and submitted again. We submitted an addendum.
Permit was provided in PDF.
Yeah, that's the one we have now. That's the latest one we have.
Okay, great.
I'm sorry to break away. Did we give you a PDF of that, or did? Yeah, we could certainly do that.
They scanned it.
Yeah, that's so easy for us to do. In fact, it's pretty much commonplace for us to have a PDF of anything we submit to any town, whether it's a planning board or a conservation commission. So in the future, I'd be happy to do that.
Save some labor.
Oh, unfortunately, we probably still need to provide the hard copies, but at least the subsequent copies out to you could be just digital. Sure.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
No, I think, I don't, all my stuff, nothing has changed since the last, as far as we were concerned, for me, the last time Ken was here, so.
And do you feel we have anything material, any comments to forward to DES? Okay.
So if I could just wrap up then, we have our next planning board meeting, as I said, I believe it's November 18th. We currently have a plan set out for peer review CLD. I expect to get that plan back probably, wouldn't be surprised if it took another week and a half or so. They'll have a list of comments that they would like us to follow up with. And hopefully a week or so before the planning board, we'll have all of those comments and revisions addressed. And hopefully in advance of the planning board meeting, we'd have a letter from the commission as far as your position on the open space easement. Once again, I'm stressing that I'm hopeful that you'll accept easement oversight so that it could be conveyed to the town as town lands to be overseen by a conservation easement with the Conservation Commission, and the terms will be near or identical to the Ireland piece to keep that consistency. And that was for passive recreation use, no fields, athletic fields, no motorized vehicles and things of that nature. So it was we're hopeful that it'll stay the same type of use and just expand the overall acreage of the Ireland parcel with the open space here. So, and you could refer to my email I sent, which was dated September 16th, had my 3 items: support for the overall project, since it's in the Aquifer Protection District, willingness to accept the oversight of the conservation easement, and support for the wetlands permit. So I had 3 bullet points on that email dated September 16th. Still hold true today.
Good.
All right.
Great. Thank you very
Okay.
much, Ken.
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Gotta get the blood back in my foot and I can walk.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
I don't want to twist it either.
You can pull a Chevy Chase and just like,
There you go. All right. Did you, so from that last agenda item, there's no comment to DES, correct? Which is perfectly acceptable.
I
We do
mean,
that all the time.
I didn't see anything had changed as far as
Okay.
from the original permit that he,
Okay. And
submitted to us versus the one he submitted formally.
It also seems that Kyle had some of the same concerns that we
Yep.
did about the turtles and,
Mhm.
things like that. And they were addressed by changing the side slope and putting a flat bottom culvert in. I don't think, I believe we'll need a meeting with the planning board to discuss verbiage for deeds as far as fertilizers and ice melt. Because it doesn't seem to convey well through our recommendations.
Yeah, I mean, but Ken's right. I mean, you can't put, do you know what your deed says in your house? You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's like going.
You know,
too far,
you
yeah.
just, I know where the copy is. I can't, there's stipulations in there about, no fertilizer. The first time I read that, 20 plus years ago, I probably didn't really read it that closely.
And I don't think, I don't think we're making stipulation, I don't think we're making, you know, blanket, this is what you'll do on your property, just recommendations.
Yeah.
I don't know if it belongs in a deed, maybe we do need to have a meeting with the planning board to discuss.
For this particular piece, or
No,
just in general?
in general.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, Ken's not the only one we've had this conversation with.
I can, if that's something you wanna do, I can ask if the planning board wants to meet with us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Be an interesting discussion at least.
all right, I'll see. Okay. All right, so is that, we all set with that item then? All right, so now we'll move into the beaver management study under old business. Paul, did you want to join us? Acting Town Manager Paul McCallie. So, did everyone bring their information? Their charts, their papers?
I have a copy of this. We have a copier available.
Is there a copy available, Paul?
Copy for me.
I would suggest Tom needs one. How about 4? You got one?
No.
No, 5?
I'll make half dozen.
Okay. Oh, I think I got, do I have? Oh, I've got one. Yeah, I got one. I'll take one of the maps. Okay. I'll give you the sheet too. Alright, so I also have a big version of the map in case we want to refer to it. Or do I have more than one of those? I got 2 different styles of the map anyways. I can bring it up on computer if I can find it. I think Gage emailed it to me at one point, so. This right here. So if anyone's watching, we're just getting organized. So, well, I'll wait for Paul to get back and then I'll briefly go over the map. And the spreadsheet that will be coming out. Great. I forgot to turn on my own voice recorder, so hopefully the audio's working good. You got both pages?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
double-sided.
All right, cool. That's all set?
That's this right here, right? Yeah.
Yep, it's that right there. Okay, so just in review, the map that everyone's got talks about our priority areas. Those in red are high beaver aptitude suitability, then yellow is moderate and green is not. GZA went through and used various characteristics in order to determine what would be a suitable beaver habitat, which we went over at our last meeting. So wherever you see red, yellow, or green, well, red or yellow, it doesn't mean there's absolutely beaver there. It just means that by the model that was created that there's a probability for beaver. And it turns out that where most of our problem areas are, they showed right up on the map as being high likelihood areas anyway. So the map, the model, I should say, that generated the map seems to be working well and has been validated in a number of points. So we had 30, what, 4?
We had 31, and they came back with 35.
35 areas that needed to be looked at and whatever. The spreadsheet that you have takes all those areas and lists them and talks more about the details in each one of them. The ones that I wanted to cover tonight, absolutely, are the ones in red. But if we want to touch on even more of them, then that's great. So we now have a model, and what's nice about this model that we have and the map that's generated from the model is if there are developments being planned in other parts of town, it might be a good thing for the planning department as well as the planning board to take a look at this model and say, hey, you know, where you want to build homes also has a high probability of beaver, and therefore you should be aware that beaver could impact your homeowners, and you may want to take action to deal with that, or maybe there's ways we can build into the planning process acknowledgement that there's beavers there, so we as a town don't end up being liable for when the beavers flood them out. Not sure if that's possible, but you know, it's something to be considered anyway. So with all that said, what I'd like to do is, like I said, hit the highs, and let's start with what I think is probably the most interesting and difficult one, and that's at Mayflower and Powder House, which is number
18?
Number 18. So on the map, number 18 is down between Powder House Road and Mayflower Drive, which is off of Babusick Lake. It's right sort of in the center of town. I know you all can't see, but it's right about there. We do have the bigger map over there. Can you see that, Paul?
I got it.
Okay. I think all around the table here, we're pretty much familiar with the parcel. I have got lots of pictures of it that have been taken over a couple of years now. We've got a big beaver pond, and at one end is kind of a marshy, streamy type input, and big beaver dam in the middle of the pond. And on the opposite end, holding the water back besides the beaver dam, is a man-made dam because of the sewer line that goes through there. There's a normal flow through for that dam, the man-made dam, and then there's an overflow. And I think currently the normal flow through that dam outlet is completely blocked, and the water is all the way up to the overflow, which is partially blocked. Never mind the fact that the beaver dam also is a few feet higher than all of that, right?
Yeah.
So if that dam ever let go completely, that'd be an interesting flow of water to that man-made structure. Never mind the sewer line and water lines and anything else that's buried in that thing. When we were here, Tracy spoke about the idea of using a flexible beaver pipe, and also doing beaver deceivers around the inlets to those two water structures. There's also been some recent tree damage where beavers have been going after some of the big trees near the man-made dam. I'm not sure those trees are salvageable now, but we may want to address some of that as well. And as we all know, Mrs. Patterson's been dealing with, Mrs. Thompson, sorry, has been dealing with some water level issues on her property at 14 Powder House. So I'll stop talking. Any thoughts from the commission and what they'd like to do about this situation, given what we know now?
You know, we've identified that area as one that was a particularly troublesome spot. I know you all seen it firsthand now. I'm not sure if we need, to me, I don't think we need to decide what should be done there, just that something needs to be done there. I mean, GZA's done a good job of doing some research on the types of devices that can be put in and with minimum maintenance, long-term maintenance. I've spoken to Adam, and he's, at this time of the season, he's like, I just don't have, you know, the bandwidth to support, you know, however much time to send guys down there to train them how to build these things. So he'd like to go ahead on the flip side and have it purchased as a device. So, and certainly for the first couple, I think it'd probably be worthwhile to let a professional come in and put them in.
Put both a beaver deceiver and a pipe in?
Yes, right. I mean, we're saying flexible pipe. There's a new. We were part. Just so you guys know a little background, we were part of a program to hopefully try to win a installation, and we did not. We were second place, but first place was Milford, and they just went out and put one in, and it's quite a large structure, and they did seemingly it's doing a good job already. So. The same company that put that in has expressed some interest to come look at this parcel and look at this property itself and see what they can do. They're kind of the leading scientists, so to speak, on how to build these structures so they don't have a lot of maintenance long term, and they're effective, effective in the short term. So that's again, that was kind of Tracy's GZA's list of folks who they would like to contact on our behalf to get some prices and start moving forward on the construction and management of this project.
Any idea on cost?
The initial range of costs is the pond level is around $1,300 per pipe, and that's what we're looking at, something at least one or two in the main dam. Again, these are rough estimates, Tom. Don't.
Now, is that a material cost or is that a materials and installation?
That's a purchase cost for the device.
Is it purchase cost for the devices?
Not
Not the
installation.
installation.
Because you can buy the device and install it yourself if you'd like.
And we did not get a price for that. That's for the actual pipes, but we didn't have a price for the deceiver units themselves because it's really dependent on their size and the shape and what they have to do. So that's have to go get an estimate. There's too much leeway on, is it a large pipe, is it a small pipe, what's the depth of the water? There's just too many factors for them to give you kind of a cost estimate.
So the deceivers, we talked about a trapezoidal shape, which it would be placed at the inlets to both those structures, or at least one of them.
Right.
Well-
I think they wanted to do. I think initially she said the main culvert, the main drain would just be a large circular 6-foot circular, and then the big trapezoidal one would be at the overflow. So
A range for how much it costs to put one in, the installation cost?
we don't have it yet.
Yeah, we don't. We'd have to get it bid. It's, I don't know. I can only guess it's at least a day, if not 2 days worth of labor. So
For how many?
for each.
No, how many people?
Yeah, two at least,
I
right?
think
Yeah.
they seemingly come in groups of two to
Yeah.
put them in.
So you're looking at $1,000 at a minimum.
Oh yeah.
I would think so. Never mind the clean out that has to be done.
I think that hopefully that type of stuff could be done by our crews, but
Well, the only reason I'm mentioning it is because when you say, oh, well, the town will do it, or the town can do it, or might be able to do it, when you factor in what it costs us for an employee, as
Right.
opposed to what a contractor may cost us.
Yeah.
There may be some savings there. But it certainly will be, maybe a question would be asked by other members of the council about, can you tell me how much of a differential there is between having a contractor come in and do it and having our own guys do it.
Is it possible for a town employee to accompany someone that gets hired to learn the process while it's being done, like maybe help out, and then the town would, those employees would eventually learn?
Well,
how
that would
to
be
do
our
it?
overall goal if the subcontractor would let us. Some of them don't like
Yeah,
you watching over their shoulders, but we would ask them if we could at least watch to learn
Well,
the installation process.
it slows them down too.
And partly too is, and one of the things is, learning how to put one in versus learning, how big does it have to be and, what's the shape and where does it, what's the angle of it? I mean, that's something that, the contractor does have, has quite a leg up on us.
Yeah.
Learning to build a triangle versus learning where to put it is two different things.
yeah. So, I don't know, is this like a goal of the town or not? Like, maybe
That's,
be too difficult, yeah.
I guess we can help them
Yeah.
decide that,
Well, I'm trying to, the reason I'm asking the questions is do we want to get in this business or not? Does the town really want to get into the business?
Yeah, well,
And if the cost factors involving a town employee are, might mitigate against it.
How many are we really gonna do? Are we doing
right.
3 a year? We doing one every 3 years? Those all play into this, whether or not,
We have 35
Expertise.
active sites right now.
right.
And, the goal is not to be dispatching animals, so the population's not going to go down. And, we're not gonna have a lot less water in the next 10, 15 years, so there's gonna be a lot of potential for construction.
we may end up doing 30 different kinds of structures.
Yeah.
And then it would make sense at that point.
Right.
Depending on the cost.
Yeah.
Whether or not, like Tom said, whether or not to have one of our own crew be able to do it.
And certainly, we have areas like Mitchell Woods that, you could have someone go in there and make a mistake, it's gonna be another day then, okay. And what's the impact? We don't have one. If we're in a position at Powder House where you've got, water up on people's property, you need it done. You need it done right, you need it done now. And I just think those would probably be the spaces that we, have someone come in and do it professionally, correctly the first time.
Yeah.
So,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no argument for me on that. I mean,
Yeah.
there's the learning curve involved. You don't want to throw them into the most difficult one
Right.
you've got to have them learn how to do it.
yeah,
Right.
because,
You know what's going to happen.
Right.
And it's, and this is not to belittle them or to denigrate
Nope.
their skills or anything like that. It's just the nature of the beast. When, the task you have at hand that you're trying to deal with, and throwing them into a tough one like that the first time.
this is the most difficult one.
Yeah.
We're looking at pipes, we're looking at a round product, and we're looking at a trapezoidal type product. And all three in one location, so.
Be great to watch.
Yeah, it would
Yeah,
be.
it would be.
But-
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
push that button.
Yeah.
Right.
You think you can work that into your employees' staffing and to have someone, at least one person there?
I'm sure we could probably get one person out there.
Because the package that GZA left with us last meeting, a lot of the pictures in there are from the same contractor who did the job up in Milford. And so obviously they were letting people take pictures and, this is how you do it. It was a very laid out, structured step 1, 2, 3, 4, so.
Sure, I can get it, depending on how long it is, if it's a week project,
Mm-hmm.
but we can get up there. We have to do some clean out anyways.
Yeah.
The overflow catch basin is I was up there today. The overflow catch basin is covered with wood. The extra overflow catch basin is starting to get covered with wood. There isn't much of the drain available on that side, so we would definitely have to get. And the rains are coming for the next week, 4 inches of rain. So over the next couple of days, so we're looking to at least get something out there. I talked to Adam today, and he's hoping to get somebody out there. He's got in that area some projects scheduled, so he's hoping that he could break one guy away to get over there and do some cleanup.
So then, with this spot, do we want to ask these folks to come in and give us a quote for what it's going to take to do it?
Yeah. Yeah, and ask them if a town employee can,
can participate. Now, we're thinking 2 pipes through the dam? I thought that was the,
That was the general, yeah,
Recommendation.
that was the recommendation, is to,
and are we gonna remove the existing non-functioning pipes that we have in there? And, I mean,
Sure, if they could be repurposed.
I think they're scrap.
well, the pipes, the actual, the beaver box that's in there
Beaver
is,
box.
that's scrap. That,
Scrap.
yeah, the amount of work to pull that out, I don't think is even worth it. You know, it's been wood that's underwater for
Yeah.
at least the last couple of years. It's probably not in any great shape. But
But
the-
the
but it-
PVC,
Yeah, but the PVC is pretty,
They're pretty small. I mean, you could buy those for $10
yeah,
at Home Depot or $20.
yeah.
there.
Could we just pull them out of there? Probably.
I would-
What, 3-inch pipe?
I
I think, yeah, ID is probably 4 inches, or whatever that is, there's a 5-inch on the outside.
12 or 15 bucks.
Yeah, I don't even know if they're
For a
that big.
10-foot
Yeah.
length.
I mean,
Right, yeah.
we've been down there. I don't even know if they're that big.
Yeah, okay.
They're pretty small.
Right, they're pretty small. There's 2 of them, and then there's the beaver box.
You got some plumbing to do at the home. You can grab them if you want.
Now, that part of the
It
plumbing's
comes-
already in.
They come scented, too.
It's aged.
In my house, might not make any difference.
So who wants to kind of kick, get that ball rolling then? Do you just,
I've been certainly working with Tracy on this. I'll continue to, because I told her we'll be in touch with her right away anyway. So
right. So from a finance perspective, we believe these are the experts. We've looked at, there are some alternative people out there, but I think it's a specialized skill. I'd prefer not to go through the large proposal process, but get a quote anyways and vote on it.
Yeah, I would say definitely let's get a quote, Gage, include
Yep.
my office in this process. Time is of the essence.
Mhm.
Spring, we don't want
Right.
to get in there after spring when we're gonna go up some more in the water level. So I can see several things being done that we can have this contractor come in, show us the ropes, and go forward. If he gives us a good price,
Right.
Yep.
if he's not over 7,500 to 10 grand, we gotta come back and ask the commission, do you really wanna go with this, or do you wanna go competitive?
Well, I think either way, we want to bring this up do we want to engage them and get them working before our next meeting, or do we want to get all the information and have our meeting in 2 weeks where we vote to approve? You think we even have time? I don't know.
I don't know, it depends on their schedule too.
Right,
Yep.
it does, yeah.
And that
Their
might be a
schedule
question.
and how much rain we get.
Yeah, but that could be a question we can ask them, when can they start, and if they say, well, we can't start until
Yeah.
November 30th, then
Okay.
you have your answer. If they say we can start tomorrow, then
Mhm.
it might be a different answer.
Yeah, I suspect they've got some engineering to do, to go on out and take a look at it and figure out, do some measurements, because they're gonna have to get in the water to do the measurements anyways.
At least for the pipes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about 2 pipes and then the deceivers, 2 deceivers, right?
That's what our novice design
I
is.
just-
Yes.
Right, exactly. Gotcha. Okay, I got that. All right, one other question then. What is the desired water level we want to achieve when we're all done? I think that's important, because
Yep.
you can't complete the design without knowing what your target water level is. And that's that's the overall pond level, not the level for the
Yeah.
overflows.
And the beaver box that's in there was, was it last year or now 2 years ago that we made that decision that, that was probably about where the box was a level that seemed to be amenable to everybody. Because, obviously, some people wanted it high, some people wanted it lower. Everyone wants the level change to stop.
Mhm.
So right now, the bottom of that box is, we got about almost 2 feet, 3 feet of water above that box. So if that's gonna be, they wanna keep at least 4 feet of depth on the other side, so we don't get full pond freeze. So if that box, the bottom of that box is above the 4 feet mark, would that be where we wanna be?
Do we have an idea where that level is between the 2 flows?
Would the pond drop, is that 2 feet lower than it is now?
At least, yeah. Yeah, if you go look at that box, where the box is sticking out of the dam and where the water level is now, we're at least 2 feet. And it does put you between,
Between the two,
between the,
right.
seemingly kind of between those two. I mean,
Makes
as an eyeball. I
Yeah.
mean, is it measured? No, but,
Yeah, that was my impression,
Right.
but my thought is that we want to be between the two output flows.
Right.
So that way the max overflow, we're not hitting that, but if we ever had a large event, it would still be there and we'd still be able to use it. So we may end up with a big cage around a hole that, is not really mattering a whole lot unless, but, so yeah, for me, I'd like to see a level between the two, and the bottom of that beaver box, I think, is the maximum I'd like to see it.
Makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah, does everyone agree? And I know Gage agrees, he suggested it too, so, but,
So now you're gonna trap what's in there. You're gonna trap what's in there? The beaver that are in there, you're gonna trap those?
well, that's the other part, correct. So Tracy had made the recommendation that for this one, because the level is gonna change fairly significantly, we may want to trap the current colony and allow a new colony to come in with the lower level, thinking that that's the appropriate level, and hopefully they don't build it back up again.
the concept is that the current colony, they build their lodge, they do all their work, and they remember where it is. So the minute you make a drastic change, they go and, full bore and trying to really do a lot more work to try to stop that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read that, so,
Okay.
that's why I'm asking the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that may add to your time issue.
Yeah,
Definitely.
the group that does the deceivers, that's a totally separate job. And that's not something that they're gonna do. That would be calling a trapper in to have that done separately.
So my preference is I'm gonna buck science and say, no, I don't wanna trap them, I wanna see what happens. If we end up with a major deal with the beaver colony that's there, then we react to it, but I don't wanna take a bunch of beaver out if we don't need to. That's
Well,
my preference, but,
Once we get that level, if the beavers stay there, the deceivers are gonna discourage them from, but not stop them probably, right?
Right, so we don't know. I mean, I'm in the same ilk as Tim. I would prefer to just take the water down and leave them be, but they may not agree.
Yeah.
They may work tirelessly to block everything now. So we may find ourselves, in this position where we have no option but to go in and trap the current colony. But I still would like to use that as Plan C.
Well, you're looking at that as a last resort.
Yep.
If the other stuff doesn't work, and you're not putting yourself in a position to preclude that option if it doesn't work out.
Right.
Okay, because the worst thing you can do is go in there and do something, and then when you get it done, you find out that you can't really remediate it because what you needed to do, you had to do before you started that.
Mhm.
So it doesn't seem to be that issue. So if you leave them in, fine. It doesn't work, you yank them.
Because the trapping is a short, we've proven it already with Mitchell Woods, the trapping is a short-term solution. I mean, this didn't go a year, we're having water problems back there again, so it's a short-term solution.
We can also ask them when they come out,
Right.
if they say, well, we won't guarantee our work, then that's a decision that
Yeah.
we can bring back to the table
Mhm.
at that time.
All right, does that sound good to you, Matt? All right.
So now, what if they say, hey, if we're gonna do this, we want you to get them out of there before we do it?
And we're stuck, I guess.
And we'll have to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can't even think about relocating them at this time of year, whether or not, and science says that doesn't really work either, so. Yeah, I would rather not take out a colony unless we have to, because no matter what, there'll be a colony back again anyway, so.
seeming that the focus of the groups that are building these, the companies that are building these things, they're, you know, they're, part of their literature is always like, you know, we've done this without having to, you know, sacrifice an animal. So that seems to be their lead.
All right, so we have a decision on Mayflower Powder House. You can move forward, try and get a quote.
Yep.
See if we can get going. We've set the water level. We know what we want to do from a novice perspective, so I think this one's done. Correct? Anything else? Sound good to you, Paul?
Good, sounds good. Now Adam has a direction to go with, and we can move forward. And like I said, Gage, just, you know, when you get those guys out there, just give me a call and we'll get out there and
Okay.
talk to them.
Yeah, it'd be good to have Adam present when they
Yep,
go view it.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, yeah, okay. Okay, everyone else, do you mind if we hit all the high ones anyways? Or do you want to start at the beginning? How do you want to, so? Well, all right, so I'll continue with the high ones since no one said anything else.
Yeah.
Okay, number 10, Greens Pond Road.
Which is also number 22.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
They're two different,
From what I've read, number 10 is the ring drain that's on the west side of Natticook Road.
mhm.
Number 22 is the flow that goes under Natticook Road. Is that,
I think, yeah.
am I reading that?
Outlet culvert on the
Yeah.
other side of the
Yeah.
road.
That's the way the map appears.
Okay.
No, I think, you know,
Yeah.
Area 22, Greens Pond Road is a water supply area. The grate in that area is maintained. One of the 6-inch round fences. Continually dig out the area. Yeah, so I mean, no, like you said, they're kind of in the same spot, so.
I've seen them cleaning that
The
and
existing, that Cadillac drain that's out
the
there?
existing drain that's out there. And when they're done, they're loading their, you know, shovels and picks up in the car. And as
Okay.
they're loading the truck, the beaver is bringing sticks in. Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
You got it.
Flipping the tail and everything.
Yeah.
What part of no don't you understand?
Yeah.
So I read this as that they were initially recommending a 6-foot round fence around that whole drain. Is that?
Yeah, because right now, it looks like there's a pipe that comes up, and then there's a metal grate over the top of it.
Kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
It kind of goes halfway up.
And the thought would be to put a much larger round one all the way around it.
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
Now, this may be pie in the sky thinking, but when I saw the deck that they put on one of them,
Oh, yeah.
I thought this is the ultimate place for a deck.
Trouble is, where do you park?
On the side of the road where the hunters park.
And the police.
Yeah. But this would be a fantastic place for one of those
yeah.
with the railing all the way around.
Railing, right, yeah, so you could walk right out and enjoy
Be a
Enjoy the
fantastic place to.
see the geese that with their hatchlings out there as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what we're talking about, Paul?
A little bit.
So Natticook Road, your way to Wasserman. You get to the bottom. There's the the duck pond, the goose pond. Okay, all right. So so just inside the pond is a pipe that comes up and a metal grate.
Do you have the thing from last week? Is it last meeting? Do you have the whole package?
I
Yeah,
do.
it's right.
Yeah. So the device you're talking about is going to be in here, right?
Well, no, but
S-
you've seen you must see the
So
deck.
6
the
foot,
deck.
a 6-foot ring fence with a deck on top.
Sounds like the Eagle Scout package.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, then you gotta worry about what people are throwing in there to feed the critters.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, feed the alligators, yeah. Let's start that rumor, alligators in Merrimack.
Yeah,
town manager said it.
You take only take chicken if you go.
But then they build them so that they can put it back up.
Oh, wow, pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you can walk out, see the beavers do their work.
Yeah, that's it, watch him.
Attempt.
This is a little bit of a different, device, but that would probably work too, doing that. Because initially we were thinking we're just doing the round grate, but this is building the trapezoidal. So,
I mean, basically, when we're getting into these kinds of structures, they're mostly custom-built on site, right?
yes, they are custom built on site. Yeah, because that's what we're saying, it depends on the size, the
The depth of the
flow,
water.
the rate,
and-
everything, yeah, I mean,
Right,
there's obviously the physical restrictions, you look at like Joey Road and Atticook Extension, there's some physical restrictions there, you can't build this big huge trapezoidal
Right.
thing right there, we just don't have enough space.
The depth there is, it's not deep.
It's not deep.
It's very shallow. I mean, I was surprised. It looks deep, but when they were in there, they were in boots. They didn't even have waders on. They were just in boots.
Yeah.
So I was pretty, you know,
Yeah, when there hasn't been a lot of rain, you can see how shallow that is.
Hmm.
Because the way to the north on there, you can see the ring from the water down to the bottom, the floor,
Mhm.
and it's not that deep.
yeah. I always assumed that it was, 3-4 feet deep there, but it's,
It's only a couple of feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would definitely be one that, if we do it, I think we should try to drain it down very close to that level of that existing bottom drain, because if you look at the road in Atticook, there's a lot of linear cracking along that whole curve, so you know that all that underlayment is just slowly getting soft, and that road's just slowly cracking in on both, because it's doing it on both sides of that road. So, that's gonna be another pavement issue.
yeah, if that road blew out, all that water would go down Greens Pond Road.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a mess.
Yeah.
It would wash out half our land down there.
Yeah. It
At least,
likely
at
would.
least half the land would be ours, though, and the other half is private property, so.
So we're gonna try to put 22 and 10 kinda into the same bucket, cause 10 is, one of them is the culvert that's really going underneath there.
Underneath, yeah.
And that's plugged from the
Because-
dam side, cause that grate's so big that they can get sticks down into the
Right.
culvert.
So,
And I don't know if that's something that's repairable, or if they're talking about,
Adam says they clean that drain out a couple times a year, the
Okay.
culvert.
they
have to-
get in there.
Yeah,
run an auger in it or something
they
like
run
that.
some kind of auger in there and chip it and bring wood out, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal.
But if the ring fence were to work,
Right,
They
that would
wouldn't
be,
have to do that
they
again.
wouldn't have to do that
right, that
anymore.
would be
Yeah.
precluded.
I think this one seems like something that we should
Yeah.
also go after
Spend a
quickly.
lot of time down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, did you read, there was a section in here about Virginia?
Oh, the Virginia, right, yes.
Right, they spent about $21,000 per site in preventive maintenance and road repairs. And after they did some of this work, they were down to about $20 per site, yearly maintenance, so. That one,
We can accept that.
yeah, that one's gotta be approaching that value.
That approaches it's dumb not to do it.
Yeah.
No,
that's-
when you look at the amount of time
Yep.
that the crews spend down there cleaning them off and understanding that as soon as they leave, they're coming back in to plug it up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? Which only means they'll turn around and look, hey, this is guaranteed employment, you know?
Yeah.
From the road crews, and, no criticism, but I mean, it's like the job I used to have, always going to unemployment hearings, and, it's just the way it was, so.
Also, with this one, it directly impacts our trails on the Greens Pond parcel.
It's true. Yeah.
So every time they go, a long time and then clean it out, I'm hiking out in the woods to drag a bridge back 30 feet.
Yeah, the new parcel we have that's adjacent to Wasserman Park, we bought a parcel. That flow runs right through our parcel, and when it comes gushing through really fast, it washes stuff out. So,
It ends up in Greens Pond.
Yeah.
This flow ends up in Greens Pond.
so,
Okay.
So you're
So-
looking at what, a 6-foot round steel grate?
Again, our novice eye, yes.
yeah, so, is this something that we wanna ask the town to design and put in, or is this, and, you know, we cover the costs, or is this something we wanna ask these folks to do? So we get,
You might get a package discount.
Yeah, if we could, we have, 4 or 5 spaces that we need done
Yeah.
promptly,
Yeah.
and we want your,
Okay. all right, it would be my preference that we let someone else do all the high priority ones, and
Yeah.
then we work with the knowledge,
Right.
we work off the medium and lows.
Yes.
because there may be, another phase, whoever does this work may be willing to act as a contractor saying, yeah, I'll come in and show you guys how to do these, as a training tool.
Yeah.
What,
These are two different
Right.
jobs right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much different.
Right, yeah.
And, they may come in, learn something off the Greens Pond work
Right.
that they can apply to, 10 other spots on here, but they wouldn't have learned that if we just had them do the Mayflower.
Right. Okay, so that brings us to
11.
11, yes, Hitchin Post Lane.
Oh, it's way up north.
Yeah, that's way up. Northwest part of town.
Yep.
That's not even part of Babusak Brook directly, is it?
Is that the covered bridge?
I don't know. The covered bridge is
No, it's
north
Dole.
of Park, by Parkhurst. I
No,
don't know.
that's Stowell Road. That's much
Yeah.
further north.
That's movable, yeah.
And that's right on Babusak Brook. So this is over by,
I think this is kind of that unnamed tributary
yeah,
that kind of runs into
Yeah, it's-
Boosuk Brook eventually.
If you go like a Bean Road to Woodward, and that road kind of connects, if it heads over to the dump, if you keep going north.
yeah, we own a big parcel out there anyway, so
Yeah,
actually.
so that's when the dam is on our parcel, and there's a wood lot right up there beside it.
So that one's just talking about a water leveler.
Yeah.
Do we have impacts to neighbors there?
Right now, I don't think we do. I mean, if the dam goes, seemingly if it gets up much higher, it looks like it's gonna start encroaching on property, but, right now, it doesn't seem to be, well, okay, it was a month ago, over a
Mhm.
month ago I was there, so I've been there since. We had some pretty heavy rainfall the other day, and we're about to get some more. I mean, this would be potentially something to go look at while we're in the middle of this rain to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
But I've not, it wasn't that bad when we were up there, before.
Okay.
And a few folks, I talked to a couple folks up there that didn't seem to be, bothered by it, so.
So this probably doesn't have to be addressed right now.
Seemingly, no. I mean, this would be probably, we got high water coming. It might be worthwhile to go up and see how it's responding then. Because when you get these heavy rain flows, the water goes over the dam, the beavers think it's broken, they go to work.
Right.
So, it's kind of a catch-22.
Okay, but theoretically, we could wait till the spring to deal with this one.
Right, seemingly, yeah.
Do we want to throw this in the mix for this fall, or do we want to wait till spring and see how our other activities go?
I say we wait.
Yeah.
So wait till we
this is one of those where we could actually see if our training worked out, right? We could
Mhm.
go in and try it ourselves after we purchase the material.
Yep.
And see how it goes.
That's what I was thinking
Yeah.
in the spring.
Yeah, and that way it doesn't, it doesn't hurt someone if it takes a couple extra days to get it in.
Spring or summer.
Yeah, right, yeah, try to get, it'd be better to do it at a low flow point.
Right, that's what I'm
Mhm.
thinking.
Yeah. Okay, we did 18, we didn't talk about 20. Cary Drive and Madison Lane.
So this is where we did trap, and rather extensively last season, and it was working up until just a couple weeks ago, where we noticed that where they were damming before now has been moved back to the end of the pond, where the old carriage road used to go across behind where they're looking at the wells, the new wells. And the water level there is up a good 18 to 20 inches above the beaver box.
Ah,
So they're very active and doing a very good job. So that instead of having the dam right behind Madison, it was just backing up that little stream. They've now gone to the outlet of the pond, so now they've backed up the entire pond. And it's a large body of water. And as I said, it's become quite deep. So this is an area we were having issues. Some of the people in Madison were having some issues with their septic tank, and it's definitely higher. I mean, the outlet, the storm drain that goes across my property is normally this time of year is pretty much dry, and I'm 6 or 8 inches of water in there now. And certainly the other day when we had rain, it was right up to the top. So there was 2 feet of water in there.
well, then I guess my recommendation for 20 is that we try to act on it and throw it in the mix. Do it this, and do something, because it's only gonna be worse in the spring, especially when we have a whole new litter of,
Yep.
and to deal with. Anyone think otherwise? Okay,
What about the trapping that they're talking about? They're talking about that and the same thing on Mitchell Woods, which is in that area too.
Yeah, that's Mitchell and Cary Drive and Madison is because of Mitchell. So where Cary is right now and Madison, there's a number of pipes and stuff that are back there that are just, they're up on dry land now. I pushed them up on dry land. There's 4 of them back there. We're not seeing any activity right there now, and with the trapping last year seemed to solve that issue. That's what I'm saying, is now they're building at the end of Madison, at the end of Mitchell Woods in that pond. So it's right now, Cary and Madison has seemingly okay. It's at the outlet of the pond. And this feeds directly into that. Yeah, so that's
35.
yeah, it's 35.
Yeah,
Yep.
so they'd be done as together, pretty much.
Well, yeah, I mean, this doesn't seem to be anything we need to do to Cary and Madison other than just keep an eye on it now. There doesn't seem to be any active dam building going on right there.
Blind trying to read these numbers.
yeah.
Yeah.
You want the big map?
It's really
Get the
hard.
big map.
Even with
It
the
is
glasses,
hard.
I can't read them.
The color blends into,
The
Right.
the
Yeah.
the neighbors, I know, I live right in that area, and the neighbors on the other side of the stream have my phone number, and they're very good about calling when they're having issues. So, and we've not seen, we'd be out there talking about it, and they'd be swimming by. So, and that hasn't happened this year. So, I think once we deal with Mitchell Woods on 35, I think that would probably be just, we can limit Madison to keep an eye out.
All right, so 20 and 35 are uniquely tied together, and we're thinking that we're gonna go after 35 and wait on 20?
I would say yes.
well, and 10 and 22 are kind of
Yeah.
Same thing, right?
Okay.
I was thinking just along that same line, just something a little side. I was gonna talk to Tracy about trying to put some reference numbers in here as another field. Certainly things like that, 20 and 35 reference each other or directly impact one another.
Yeah.
It's just to have a reference number in there so you can kind of lump these together when you do stuff like this, like 10 and 22.
Okay. So that takes care of all the high priorities. We're gonna try and attack 35, 10, 22 together, and 18.
Mhm.
Okay, are there any others on here that say immediate actions required?
There was one, Area 17, what Tracy brought up to our attention.
Oh, correct, yeah.
On Mast Road, not so much of the fact that, the dam, but just the fact that it's holding back so much water. I've not been down there to look at it,
Yeah, I haven't either.
and this is on the Mast Road on the way down to the wastewater treatment plant. So that might be one that we can look at doing some work ourselves, notching the dam and putting in some kind of pipe in or something. But I think we should go down and look at it at least to.
Okay. All right, well, we can take a look at it and bring it back to our next meeting. That also could be a training exercise too, right?
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yep.
Okay, we're looking at it, there's Lyons Road, all the yeses in the far right-hand column. There's,
Numbers then?
so let me just start from the top, going down and look at the ones that we haven't discussed. So we did Hitchin Post, then we get to number 15, which is Continental Boulevard and Joey Road.
That's an area that you and Gage are familiar with.
Yeah, what's hard about that is most of the dams that are in there are on private property.
Hmm.
This one, I think, is just in an easement, right? We have a sewer easement on that, we
Yeah.
don't actually own the land, do we?
We don't own that little, like, coffee table shape, right? Don't we own that piece? That's where the culvert goes under the road, right?
Yeah, we own a little piece there.
Yeah.
But I thought the dam was,
Well, the big dam is on the private property,
yeah,
but there
is one
we're
closer, right?
Yeah, they're doing a lot of maintenance. PWD is doing a lot of maintenance on the grates right there as it goes under the road directly.
Right,
They've taken down a bunch of trees.
Yeah.
And cleared that out quite a lot.
but this one's talking about putting in a pond leveler in the dam. You read
Right.
it all the way
Yeah, I
across,
think
right?
that's, well, there's a couple dams back there.
Right, yeah.
They said they found a few dams back there.
Yeah, because you and I and
Yeah.
Adam kind of did a little bit of work on one of them, just to trying to get the level down a little bit. Realizing that when we were all done, there was just so many other tiers of dams that it did make a difference to the person on Joey Road who was having the issue. So, it's like, there's probably 7 or 8 dam structures going all the way back through there. And one of those dams is probably 400 or 500 feet long.
Well, where do you think the Shakers got the idea?
Yeah, that's an impressive structure.
It is, all on private property too, so.
But the good thing is we have a landowner that seems to be very willing to deal with it too, so, maybe that's something we can just query him on and see if it's,
So, but it's really number 16 that we're thinking about then, right?
yes.
Oh, no, that's the
No,
Lions
that's
Road,
no,
sorry.
that's school.
Where is the other part of this?
15 is-
23, Natticook Road
Yeah, Natticook
Extension.
Road Extension.
Yeah,
Where's Natticook Road Extension?
that's where the salon is on,
Oh,
no?
okay.
No.
There's a small bridge right there and 2 culverts that go into that, and I bet Adam's down there regularly, they clean that out regularly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of activity down there. But that's, to me, that's one we might wanna have someone look at. It's a really tight
Really tight.
area.
Yeah.
And it may need a little, that's a experience-driven.
I think that's,
Thought.
I think that's a good one for our contractor, because it's a completely different kind of design than the round one that we're talking about on Greens Pond.
Yeah.
I think we could all learn a lot by letting a contractor do that one. I'm sure Adam would be thrilled to let someone work that.
So you looking at the spring on that one, or?
Well, if we're gonna bring in a contractor, let's see what they say. Because, I mean, our priority is Mayflower, right?
Yeah.
But if they wanna come in and do a bunch of work this fall, if there is time,
Yep.
getting them in town, they can spend some time in town, right?
Right.
Makes sense to try?
It would seem to, I mean, I would think they'd rather do a larger project than one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Keep their crew busy for.
We're gonna have to price them out a little bit, though, because
Right. Well,
soon,
That's
soon,
what I mean.
soon the number's gonna get really big.
Right. What's the saying?
That's what I'm looking at with these
Yeah.
5,
I'd say,
6.
just do each one as a separate, price on each one separately. Each one is its own project.
Okay.
If there's any economy of scale, then that can be a number off the bottom line.
Right. Okay, so what haven't I touched yet?
Isn't there any other?
Lions Road.
Yeah, Lyons Road. Until this came along, I didn't realize Lyons Road was a problem.
Which
it's not a-
school?
That's
That's
Reed's
Reed's
Ferry.
Ferry.
Reed's Ferry.
Reed's Ferry.
Lyons Road is the road with the soccer fields all on it.
We just spent all the money repaving.
Yeah.
You got the marsh
Yeah.
on the left, and you got other stuff on the right. And as my wife said when she worked there, we've lost a lot of boots and a lot of shoes, but we never lost a kid in the swale that goes around the school. Well, I went out there one year, and it was dry as a bone everywhere else. The ground was brown, and you could see 3 springs coming out of that back wall behind that building where the land came down
Yep.
into the swale.
So Lyons Road is a discussion with the school district.
Yes.
Yep.
I would have to agree,
Yeah.
because it's on pretty much their property, I would assume.
Yeah, I would assume that too. So,
So let's just take that one off the list.
well, should I try and start that discussion over the winter so we can do something, if they could do something in the spring, or we can work out an arrangement?
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, this map is available to them for,
Yeah.
we can point out their properties and say, these are issues potentially.
Tennis courts in Beaver.
Uh-oh. Do a trade?
Maybe the Beavers could build a tennis court.
Not a chance.
Well, we'll boost some beavers so we
How
can
about-
flood your tennis courts. How's that?
How about beaver and water polo? Maybe a little more conducive.
What's that?
Beaver and water polo.
There you go.
All right, I will reach out to the school administration and to the chair and make them aware that we should probably talk to them a little bit about their issue.
Yeah, I would have to say yes
Yeah.
on that.
Okay,
Mast Road.
we just.
Yeah, it was
we-
17.
yeah.
Mass Road.
So we're gonna wait on that one till fall.
Well, yeah, the Mass Road might be
Might be something we can do.
we could do ourselves.
Internal.
Yeah.
It's seemingly just the dam. It's the only impact is, the surrounding woods and potentially the road if it lets go. So it might be something we can have the guys work on. After they see somehow something else going.
So I think that covers all the ones that require immediate action according to our contractor.
There's one on
Wildcat Falls.
Wildcat Falls, 30?
Ah, yes.
Yep.
What brings Karen to our meeting
Yeah.
in the background watching. Yeah, but those aren't beaver doing that, right?
We don't think so. No, we think
No.
it's
Muskrat.
muskrats and, yeah. it looks, if you go, there's an awful lot of chew, but it looks like to be old around that whole structure.
Oh, 2 weeks ago.
Excuse me, wait a sec, Karen, can I get you to come up? You can sit over right here. You know, Paul, you don't have to move. I just want to get Karen to sign the form.
Just sign in there, so.
So everyone knows Karen is the chair of our Wildcat Falls Subcommittee.
No, there is beaver, it's beaver. 2 trees right going into the entrance, right there at the entrance by the gate. Over the past 2 weeks, 2 trees have gone down. Within 2 days, one of them was totally gone and in the pond, what was left of the water in that pond. And then, last week we went out there and, pulled another tree right off of that main trail going in, cut back some branches, and so it's definitely beaver. I got
And you-
picture.
And you had the nice mark.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's very busy.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
So-
we know they're out there. You know, I mean, there's,
Right.
around that whole retention pond, there's a ton of spikes sticking up now.
And now that I am listening to this conversation, it's like, no problem. Wildcat Falls it's an issue, but definitely not as big as some of this other, so.
Yeah.
What do you think of maybe, that could be a town?
Well, what's nice about that is access is really easy. You can drive right in there, it's a man-made structure. We have all the plans on how it was built, so we know what it is, as opposed to a pond with its hidden challenges underneath. I mean, this is something that was just done the last few years. So we may want to make that one of our projects because we have all the drawings for it, and we know how it was built.
And the overflow is designed, there's almost a third level of there's the dam, there's the overflow, and then there's a spillway.
Yeah.
And even if it got to the spillway, it's not going to, significantly impact anything there. It's not going to impact the road.
Yeah, because it eventually washes to the Sauhegan River through the channel that's there anyways. Might get a little close to your new bridge, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's a good system that's set up there. It's just the concern of some of the towns, the neighbors in that neighborhood were asking about. It's fine right now, but when spring runoff comes and,
Is it going to
Guess
back
that-
up?
yeah, so, thank you.
Now,
So
certainly,
we don't think there's any beaver living in the detention pond, do we?
I've seen him swimming.
Okay.
I have I took photos of him in there. He was first on the first culvert this spring. He'd blocked up the first culvert, and there was somebody that came out and took care of that a few times.
Yeah.
I've got him on video swimming around in there. When that didn't work, he blocked up actually the box. It's
Yeah.
totally blocked up and jammed. And he's been in there because I've been seeing some activity. I don't know where he is. And even on the other side of that box, you can see where he's got some trees down. I'm not sure of the logistics and how the waterway's set up, but there's a lot of activity, not just on our path going in, but on the other side, where there's another water flow that goes down to the Sauhegan there. He's been
Yeah.
busy.
have to go find a
So-
lodge and see where they're.
Yeah, we
It's
gotta find out
somewhere.
where it
I
is.
think where the lodge is, so if you go to the gate, come out of the parking lot, you go to the gate, the detention pond's on the right-hand side. I think the lodge is over to the left
Yeah.
in that swamp.
Okay, yeah, because that's where he was working. He blocked that off first.
All those like
So it's-
flooded blueberry bushes are. and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yep.
It's impressive.
Do you know what we're talking about? Okay. Tom, are you familiar with that area or not? No, okay.
What do you want to do?
That would seem like the solution to that is similar to what's gonna happen at Mayflower. For the drainage basins, not for the dam itself, but for the drainage basin, so it might be, if we can get people watching that, would that be something we potentially try to take on ourselves?
Yeah.
I'm sure Adam's gonna love all this.
All right, so, yeah, let's let Adam and crew take a look at it, see what they think.
If they are available to watch the installation for Mayflower, if that can happen relatively quickly, that might be something they can take on. Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, take a look at it. The nice thing about that is there's probably not a beaver colony that you're gonna disrupt, and it is a man-made detention pond.
Yeah.
So it may be easier for them to work in. They can certainly get to it and clean it if they need to, no matter what.
Right.
You know, so if it's blocking and it's a concern, there's no reason why they can't go in and put a bucket in there and clean it.
Yeah, as long as they got, you know, the access is there.
I believe so, right? I mean, the road is
no,
wide
yeah.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got the keys to the gate and everything, so they should be able to get right
They'll
back
be
there.
able to go back and do what they gotta do.
I mean, that road was originally designed to get a fire truck down, so
Yeah,
you
right.
should get a pickup truck down there without much of a problem.
Okay. So we'll have Adam take a look at it and deal with it for now, and then think about maybe them actually putting in a deceiver there.
Yeah, and we'll talk to Adam about it too, and, you know, see what his timetable might be.
And we could always get a price from this gentleman.
I mean,
Doesn't hurt to get a price,
Right,
so we can compare.
that's true.
Yep.
So do we want to look at the others, or do we want to stay where we're at and learn what we learn and then decide what we're going to do with the ones that aren't required immediately?
Yeah, I vote for option 2.
Okay.
Deal with what we just talked about for now.
And learn what we learn? Because I'm sure we're going to learn a lot. Agree, Gage?
Yes.
Tom,
Yep,
you
agreed.
good with that? Okay, all right. Anything else on this agenda item then? Seeing nothing. Thanks for coming out, Paul.
Thank you, Bob.
Hope that helps.
Are you gonna take up the issue at Amherst?
Yeah,
I have some information for you on
sure,
that.
okay. So, let me just get organized again. I had an agenda somewhere. I covered it up and I let it go. All right, so we had nothing on new business. We have other business and it's not listed, so let's bring it up. So the town got a request from Mark Taylor at 225 Natticook Road that there are some trees on Ireland, on what's Fields Farm, formerly known as the Ireland property. The trees are leaning over the stone wall and leaning over his property, and he's concerned that some of them could come down. I viewed them, I actually took pictures, I could bring them up. Not sure it's necessary, but they're fairly large maple trees. One's a cluster of 3, the other is on its own. The one that's on its own had a large limb on it at one point which cracked and broke off and is already down, and the tree looks like it's opened up and probably going to rot, but it's actually kind of leaning this way. It's probably a good 30, 40 feet, probably like this wide, 10 inches in diameter. That's the lone one. That's the other 3 are a cluster of 3. One of them is leaning into our property. The other 2 are leaning over his property, and those are even bigger. They're probably 12 to 14 inches.
So it's already
Large maple trees.
coppice growth from something that was,
Yeah, but
It's like
from a
a long
long time ago.
Well, this is the Newmark,
Yep,
yeah,
we're Newmark
so he's an
Excavations.
experienced tree person.
Well, he is, yeah.
Yeah.
So he came to, wanted to know if the town would take care of him, because he wants to do some improvements on his property, and is concerned that if he puts the improvements in, they're just gonna get crushed by the trees. So Paul, what do you have to add then?
Adam went out there, met with him today to look at the trees. It'd definitely be a contract job.
Okay.
It's, those trees are a little bit bigger than what his crew can handle right now. And the way they're leaning, I guess it's not just his new construction, it might be his construction, his house
Right,
itself. so.
Correct, yeah, he's got some temporary shelters and stuff out there that definitely are in danger.
Is the landowner interested in doing the work himself?
The town, this member of the town council is not interested in having
Yeah, because,
a member of the
'Cause of the
public going on
conflict,
the town property to do that kind of work,
right,
which is one of the most dangerous jobs
yeah.
out there.
Right.
As I mean, and there'd be kind of like a conflict to hire himself as, or the town to hire him as a contractor. It'd be a
We
conflict.
have contract tree guys.
Yeah,
We have 2 or
okay.
3 tree outfits that we call on a regular basis to take down trees that we can't handle.
Mhm.
So the property owner did express an interest to me in the lumber, the wood, not the branches and foliage and all that, but the wood itself, if we weren't interested in keeping that wood.
Excuse me.
You think the tree contractor would prefer to take the lumber at a better price?
I do know that hardwood's getting a better price than pine. I don't know how much is there, so to speak. Excuse me on
Are
that.
they taking it for anything other than chip wood, or are they?
It depends on the size. I haven't
Well,
gone
that's what I'm
down
saying,
and looked.
I'd have to go look at the trees, but is there any straight,
Yeah.
is there any straight limbed sections of it that, you know, they could even get a 6-foot plank or something?
I don't know what
They
they
might
would
be able to
do.
get 6 feet,
But, yeah.
but as you
Yeah.
said, it's not a true tree that grew on its
Right.
own. It's a tree that fell down and, you know, pieces shot out of it, but that was 40 years ago now. So they're big, but they all have their, not sure that there's wood quality. There's probably firewood quality wood there, but
Right,
not board
Not
feet,
this winter.
not board feet.
Actually,
yeah.
Right.
So, you know, if we took it down, if the town took it down, we lay it by the side of the road. And then anybody who wants to use a chainsaw and cut it up, put it in the truck, take it away, is what we did. We just did some work on Bedford Road out towards Reed's in that area, and guys were out there picking up the boards as they cut them into basically log lengths, and they come and grab the log lengths and take them out. So if we do the work, that's what we normally do. We normally leave the hardwood on the side of the road for about a week, week and a half. If it's not gone, we come back, pick it up, and take it away. When we do jobs like this, you know, if the guy's in there chipping, he's gonna chip the tree, probably, or he'll use it for his own, take it out and use it for his own firewood. If he has to send the crew in there to chip and clean it up, that's what they normally do, is they normally take the wood with them, on jobs like this, and helps offset the cost a little bit.
I mean, we do have the option of having everything dumped on the other side of the stone wall and left on our property, but that'd be rather ugly.
Right. And that's another option we can tell the guy too, is when he's chipping, he doesn't have to put it in the back of his box. Just
it
chip
in.
into our land, which we do on a regular basis too.
How far from Amherst Road is,
The first set of trees are probably, I would estimate 75 to 100 feet in from the road. The next one is probably 120 feet in from the road. It's a good distance.
would it be a bucket,
The-
like a crane?
To do this work, someone's gonna have to go physically on his property.
Oh,
They can't do it from the road. They have to go on his property, down around his house. The property is high at the road and it steadily goes down. So they'd have to go around his driveway into the lower level of his property where he wants to build a garage and stuff like that. He's got a little parking area there. And they could set up a crane there and pull out the clump of 3 and then swing the crane or move another 40, 50 feet down and set up the crane and pull the last guy out. But it's gonna have to be, one of them might be able to, one can be dropped into our property, of the clump of 3. But the other 2 are definitely gonna have to be craned or cut in pieces, because they're good leaners. I'm not even sure someone wants to, scurry all the way up one of those, so.
We have
They do.
the okay to be on his property to remove these?
I believe he will give us the okay, he wants them down.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's what he told me. Because I told him, when I looked at him, I said, we're gonna have to come on your property to do this, no matter what. And he says, yes, he understands that. That's another reason why he wants it done now, before he does any more improvements on his property. So, because I think they're coming down on their own if we don't, at some point. It's just a matter of time. Gravity and snow and ice and whatever, another ice storm like we had a few years ago, if there's still leaves on the trees, that'll pull them down, because they're leaning good, so. So my thought is that we authorize the town to engage their contractor to go in and take care of it and bill us when it's all done.
No, that being said, I'd rather have them take the wood too, to offset the cost as much as possible.
And do we authorize them chipping into our property if that's an easier option, if that's a cheaper option?
Yes.
Unless they wanna chip it into mine.
All right?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, you'll do all the coordinating and send us the bill?
Yep, well, I'll deal with Adam, and on that, and we'll get a couple quotes if it's, once again, if it's really high, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't know how much.
I expect it'll be a few thousand.
Right, and we'd have to coordinate with the landowner
Right.
to let us go on his property to do,
You're gonna have
do
to
the
get
job.
an easement or something from him.
Some kind of documentation.
Yep.
So that,
Yeah, he seems motivated right now, so.
right,
Well, he gives us the easement, and the trees disappear.
Yep.
Doesn't give us the permission to go on the land, the trees stay.
Trees stay, yeah.
yeah, so we need some, coordinate with that, but like I said, he seems to be hot to trot on this.
Yeah.
To get him down.
The nice thing is, we're not talking about a nicely landscaped lawn or anything like that. This is a little bit of a rough area that he's kind of left it that way, waiting to improve it. So now that he wants to improve it, should do something.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.
You guys have a good night.
You too.
If you can be of any more help. And just let me know when.
Yeah. I'll say, I'll call you tomorrow, probably, I'll talk with her, and he's good making decisions quick, so.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so back to other items under other business. The trail stabilization project at Greater Woods. The work is done. Have you taken a look at it?
Yes.
Yep.
Comments, thoughts? You pleased? You not pleased?
It's slightly softer than I thought it would be, the surface.
And that's my comment too, yeah, especially one end.
You know, so red maple was slightly softer than I thought it would be, compacted.
Yeah.
This is even softer than that. Now, red maple didn't have too much change. In the spring, there was some wash on the red maple trail, so we're gonna see what happens with this on the spring. With this, there's a lot more steep slopes on this than on red maple, and this is softer on those steep slopes. So we're gonna see what happens.
I notice it's softer too if you're on the BB Lane side of where it goes off to the view, that wildlife opening, because it hasn't had the traffic of the construction vehicles, and so yeah, it's already getting chewed up just over the weekend and stuff.
Yeah, there were
It's pretty loose.
a couple ATVs out there going where we've posted no
ATVs,
no
they're
ATVs.
still out there.
Yeah, they're still going there.
Yeah.
And just from them turning in there, it's created like a little berm already. You know, so it's soft. I mean, that's the only way to say it. It's softer than.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that the swales on either side of the road were gonna be cleared.
Yeah, they weren't either. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there were parts of them were kind of to the edge of the road, but I was expecting into the swales to be, I thought we were gonna get a little more cleared too.
All the big stuff came out of the swales. Because I compared that to pictures that I'd taken previously.
Yeah.
But there's still some plant growth in the swales.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's
rocks.
There's tree growth
Yeah.
in the swales still.
Yeah.
Which,
But, yeah, well, we spec to 11 feet, so when I was looking at it, I figured they made their 11 feet.
yeah,
I know.
I measured it. It is,
Yeah,
so. I was, I don't know, I was expecting
a little more,
a
yeah.
little bit more.
I
And-
noticed that in a few places, but
Yeah.
other places it's wide open, so.
In the area that I asked them to go relook at on red maple.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh no, that's fine." When the swale was clearly plugged with what slid down, they said it was fine.
This is the same group that did the road the first time.
Yeah, and did red maple
Yeah.
last year.
Because the one other thing, I mean, obviously the schools, that was their own issue, but I thought we were gonna do the entrance from the ball field up that first hill there too. Was supposed to get addressed. And that,
The,
from the transition from
Right.
the pavement to the rock.
Yeah.
I thought that was that section, and then the section from, the parking lot, or whatever we're gonna call it, that first section of the trail and the Gateway Trail. Those were the two school sections that I thought were gonna get done. And only the Gateway Trail section is done, the rock covered area is still just rock.
true, but I noticed that it was a lot smoother than it was before, because they ran their vehicles over it
Yeah.
and they smoothed out the ruts.
Because they made kind of a big parking area up top,
Right, yeah,
which, nobody can get up there and use, but it's there. I would have been happy with that material to be on that section of the road.
This is a question that I just noticed. Was there material taken out off of Gateway just before you get,
The borrow pit on the corner going
Yeah.
down to the wildlife opening one.
yeah,
I don't think so. I
That
think
was done before.
that was done before, but how it looks like it slid down.
yeah,
That was after a rainstorm that happened.
oh, really?
Because there was
And
there was kind
It
of a big,
almost looked like material was,
Yeah, there was a
I'm
big-
not like, why, if we have that pile
Yeah.
already, you know?
well, that is our borrow pit. We
Okay.
call it the borrow pit. So,
Hmm.
but there was a big there was a bunch of material taken out of it, and that whole chunk slid down, and it does look like it was excavated
Okay.
a bit. So
And that's the same thing that happened on Red Maple into the drainage that they said was okay. And I really don't agree with that.
I mean, they did a lot of area,
Yeah,
which I like.
did. It
They
looks-
did
yeah.
more than I even thought they were gonna do. They laid down,
yeah, they did a lot all the way up into Wildlife One.
yeah,
which
I
was
mean,
surprised. I didn't expect
they
that to
went
happen
above
there.
and beyond there.
Yeah.
But you're right, we didn't get much traffic. It's really soft down
Hmm.
the BB end.
yeah. I did notice the BBN was a little soft.
Yeah,
But my impression was that a lot of that's gonna harden up over the first winter.
I would think so. You're gonna get snowpack, and
As soon as we get the snowpack and we get the freeze, that locks all that stuff together. Because Red Maple is a lot harder now than it was after it was first done.
Yeah.
So as long as it survives to the first good frost, I think we're okay.
you came back to the table. You have something.
He just wanted to know, he's getting ready to pay the bill.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two is I have a meeting with Mike Powers on Wednesday morning.
Okay.
So I didn't know if the Conservation Commission wanted me to,
Well, I didn't realize you were meeting with Mike.
yeah, I'm meeting with Mike on a separate issue.
Okay.
For the town, so I didn't know if, I was gonna ask him to go take a look at that and to take a look at that swale that you're talking about, Matt. On that, to see what he says.
He did look at it.
He did look at it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And he's unconcerned about it.
He didn't seem concerned about it. But I saw it in the spring and the water was just flowing right over the road.
Mhm.
So the swale was designed so the water doesn't flow over the road.
Yeah.
So why was it designed like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't want to have to get my shovel out and do it.
Right.
If you're gonna do the work,
Yep.
I don't want to have to fix it 9 months later.
So on the trail stabilization project, because I brought the requirements of the bid out there when I went and looked at it, because I wanted to make sure we met the minimum requirements, and what was my impression, they met the minimum requirements.
Okay.
Some areas we probably would have liked to have done a little bit better, but I think they met the minimum requirements. That was my impression.
All right.
So, anyone want to disagree with that?
No.
Feel free,
No, I mean,
please.
I just said I measured. It was 11 feet, so I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
And in other places, it's 15 to 16
Yeah,
feet.
right. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so,
I think it's gonna behoove us or on the subcommittee a little bit to try to go through and continue to clean up the swales a little bit more as a project, as a yearly project.
I think we should, like Stun and Horse Hill on that,
Yeah.
on the first roadway in, the subcommittee takes care of that.
Yeah.
It's probably something we should be doing annually. Actually, I was thinking we should probably think about having the Public Works go in annually with their roadside cutter, and they could do it in an hour.
They did it. called Adam the other day to have him take care of Mitchell. So I've been going back and forth through Mitchell Woods a little bit, and they did. They went in there, and it's great. So they have the tools to do it, and they did a great job. So
It's something, if we put it on their annual maintenance, we could probably save ourselves a lot of money down the road. So. Okay. No?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
I'm leaving again. Hold on, let me run out of here first. Don't pick up the next topic.
Okay. So funding for patrols on Wasserman. Sorry, I didn't say that. So police funding for patrols on conservation property, though. If you recall, we've had a few back and forths with the police department, but we haven't actually brought them in. And we've had concerns that we think we need to bring patrols into Greater Woods to take care of our ATV issues. The police department came back and said they don't have it in their normal budget to do it, but it was believed by them as well as the town attorney that we could use conservation funds to have them do it. I was thinking at our next meeting, since right now the agenda looks a little light, that maybe we should have a further discussion on this topic. Maybe ask Chief Doyle, a representative of the police department, to come in and talk about what kind of form we could use so we could have verification that the work was done and we met all the requirements of things. Or do we want to have a general concept discussion as to whether or not we want to even go down this road? I got the impression from looking at the minutes of previous meetings that we were kind of the opinion that we might want to go down this road, but we needed more detail, if I recall our discussions correctly. So do you want me to agenda this for our next meeting and have a real discussion and get all the input in the backup and have someone come in?
I'd like to, yeah, but I'd also like to know what they're recommending for, how many, how much, how, what are we gonna get?
I think it's definitely more of a summer thing and a weekend thing as far as problems.
Yes.
Well, they get a grant every year for this kind of stuff.
They do, but that grant doesn't give them enough money to do a reasonable job. Yeah.
But that said, excuse me. So they've got the wherewithal to tell you what they've done and how long they've done it and
Results.
Yeah, the results. They've already got those forms. We see them every year when they come in because they have to supply them to the, whoever the grantor is, for that, ATV grant.
But I mean, I see the car driving around with a bike on the back. Would that be enough?
Yeah,
You know?
definitely.
I mean, really, we're talking about people on the trails doing right or wrong.
Yep.
It would be great to have a presence out there
And a mountain bike.
on a bike is fine.
Yeah.
We don't have to, call the ATV, just drive the ATV on trails that we're not recommending ATVs to be on.
Right.
I would rather see them
I'd rather see a bike.
on a bike.
Well, then, that's why you gotta have them come in and
Yeah,
talk
that's-
to them.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of, I was wondering, do we want to have a formal discussion with them? And
I think that would be great.
It's more personal too when you run into people.
Yep,
and
you don't have to shut off an engine, you can just talk.
Besides, they can't hear you coming.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, so I'll try to make arrangements to have the PD come in at our November meeting, and if at all possible, our next one, so. All right, that's why I wanted to bring it up. I thought there was still interest, but I wanted to be sure. Our budget. I had a reminder and I let it get away from me, but basically it is budget season and Tim is required to submit his budget request. I today had an opportunity to email all of you the proposed budget. That's this form here. Did you all get a,
I saw it,
See
but I
it?
didn't
Did you look
print
at
it
it?
out.
I think I printed some extra
That's just the same as
copies.
last year's. There's no,
Yeah.
there's no
There's no
COLA,
alterations.
there's no nothing, right?
Right.
Yeah, so.
So basically all the line items in here are straight cut from last year. The only item on that I know that's changed is our conservation dues have increased to $963 from the $875 that it is now. So our portion, based on the formula they use, it's gone up. I didn't see the Lay Lake monitoring bill that we last got. I think this number is pretty close to what it's been in the past.
I thought that's what we agreed to pay.
That's
'Cause
what,
that was
right.
the one that was,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and I haven't seen the results from this year's testing yet, but it's still early, so. So what I was gonna do was make a suggestion that we ask him to increase the $875 to $963 for the conservation, annual dues. I know one other item that we've been underrunning, which is our education seminars, presentations, and training. But I don't think we've been underrunning it a lot, because we actually used that portion of the fund to cover the Raptor seminar that we paid for past fiscal year. And depending on how many commissioners want to go to the annual meeting, that kind of covers the rest of it. So if we're underrunning it, it's just a little bit, and then that can be slack for other things, so. Right, so the only update I was gonna suggest was our annual dues. If anyone else has anything else, I mean, it's a pretty small line item anyways, except for the Lay Lake monitoring, which is really to the benefit of the town. It just falls under our line item, so. All right? I don't expect the web hosting to change a whole lot, even if it does. It's been pretty consistent, so. Okay, that's what I'll suggest to Tim. I wanted to bring up one other thing under budget items. So we have the New Hampshire Association annual meeting coming up on November the 1st. We had Cindy in earlier for an interview. She's accepted a position. If the council approves, on Thursday she'll be a member of the Conservation Commission. Were you thinking of it all going to that annual conference, or would you? Yeah? Do we want to ask, even though the check's probably been cut already, do we want to include and offer to pay for Cindy to attend?
if she'd like to go.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay?
As long as you go to the new member.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. You have to go to the new,
I'll see, yeah.
go to the new member session, so you actually get a lot out of it.
Yeah, you
so.
get a booklet about that big. It's
Yeah.
really good
More
stuff too.
paper.
Yeah, it is good. Typically, the chairman of the board for the covers and runs that meeting, so he brings a little bit of insight into commissions. He's been around the block a long time, so. All right, so do you have the link from our previous agenda? So when you go in, what I need you to do is to apply as a commissioner, okay? Is that safe to do, Tom?
Yes.
Okay, so apply as a commissioner, or from Merrimack. I think we're really close to the deadline where it goes from $50 to $60. So check a box that says that'll be paid by check, all right? And if you can, either screenshot that for me and email it to me, or email me afterwards and tell me what the cost was for you, and I'll have the town process that and send a check for you. Okay, so you can attend. All right? Great. And I'll follow up with Nick, the director, to make sure he knows it's coming. So, because timing-wise, it may be, a day late, but not $1 short, so.
So is there 4 people total?
So that makes it 4, okay? Technically, we'll have a quorum of the commission at the annual conference, but we will not be conducting business or taking any votes. So.
Doesn't count as a casual social affair, but it does.
Yeah, I'm sure we're not the only commission in the boat, on that same boat at that meeting, so. Okay, that's the other budget piece that I wanted to cover. Did I cover up your agenda again and lost track of it? Oh, there it is. What else do I have? I took care of Mark. So we got a questionnaire from the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions. Did any of you get a chance to take a look at that?
I have not.
Okay. What I'm gonna do then is I'm going to agenda it for our next meeting.
It seems like
Is it-
something that we should answer after the
After,
meeting.
yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like,
Yeah.
like this is for after the
Yeah.
educational thing.
They do send one out every year after the meeting, but it
Mm.
usually shows up after the meeting.
Yeah, it just said, can you discuss
Premature.
this at your next Conservation Commission meeting, and I didn't get it. So, yeah, we can bring it up. I will, I'll put it on our next agenda. Okay. Have you had a chance to get with Chris Wells from the Piscataqua Land Conservancy? Did you guys get a chance to set that meeting up?
Yes.
Okay. Right, yeah.
I haven't heard, that it doesn't work for anybody. So we set a meeting next week.
Okay, great.
Doesn't work for me, but that happened
So-
today.
I didn't, where's it at?
Be there.
Is that decided yet?
No, we haven't decided
Alright.
where.
I'll get an email, right?
Yeah. We're still back and forth on email.
Okay, so that's all I have for other business. Anyone else have anything else they want to discuss under other business?
Do you have talked to, pancake breakfast?
Evan?
Evan, thank you. How do you make out?
I didn't talk after
Okay.
the meeting. But I did talk to, Evan, who's completed his fundraiser
Oh, the Scout Eagle project, yeah?
for the Greater Woods, bridges.
Yeah.
And he's going to be finalizing the permits this week. And he hopes to start and complete the bridges in early November.
Oh, great. So that's Evan Petrie?
Petrie, yes.
Petrie, okay, for our minutes taker, so. Cool, so how did his fundraiser go?
Pancakes are good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pancakes were good.
The breakfast was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were there on
Good.
the early side, so
Yeah.
I don't know how he made out
Okay,
in total.
Yeah.
But hopefully he did well.
yeah, I tried to get it up on the website the day after I got all that info. A day after I saw it in my email. I've been really busy the last couple of weeks, so if anyone's been emailing me or whatever, I'm really slow to react. 'Cause-
I sent it to my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody went from my neighborhood, but I got a donation for them.
Good,
I did get the names of Keep in Touch submissions to the website,
okay.
so, and I turned around and sent it out to them, so I have compiling the list of names that have got in touch with us with the Keep in Touch part of the website, so
Okay,
there was some 30-some odd names in there.
great. Good.
And a little more on Greater Woods since we're there. We've completed the Brickyard Trail. So the bridges and boardwalks are now complete, and trail markings and signage are all complete. Signage, sorry, or markings, not signage. I believe we need one more post for Wildlife Opening 1 to mark where it goes to Great Gateway Trail.
Yeah, where are we gonna mark that? Is it gonna be marked way up at the head, or are you gonna mark where we made the new entrance?
I think we might talk about that at tomorrow night's meeting.
I have one question about that too. The map shows Brickyard coming in before the pond, opposite the school, going in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I couldn't find it there.
It's off a link trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
It's
went
up
that
Lake
way.
Trail a
right?
little bit.
Yeah, but, I don't know, I thought I found the map, and where the trail actually was didn't quite Yeah, I found it off the link trail going towards the school, but I thought it showed it actually, and the map showed it if you just go straight down towards the pond, that trail goes.
Yeah, I think we're again back to an agenda item that we covered last meeting,
Oh.
which our maps are horrible and need to be redone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since somebody on the commission, you know, is using a map and we're still not clear
Still-
on it,
yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it keeps going back there. I think we definitely need to address that. But while we were out there completing the bridges, the entire time was shooting.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I mean, it's not even gun hunting season at this point, but it was just nonstop shooting off over in the Wilson Hill direction.
Yeah, where we had the problem before, we think, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you got that complaint from one of my neighbors there, and I've heard that shooting too. And it was right at that cul-de-sac beaver pond. And, you know, if you're hunting waterfowl or something, a couple of shots and either you shot the bird or you didn't. This was going on for like an hour.
Yeah.
And really loud, really, so of course it generated I guess 2 phone calls, one from Parker and one from
Yeah.
BB Lane.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like it was beyond hunting.
We don't, yeah, I got no feedback from the police that they actually found anybody, but I didn't ask, did they?
Yeah, because I went out after the phone call, and I was actually afraid to come by the deck because the shooting was so close. And I came up the cul-de-sac and I saw the police car and realized that someone had already, and he found the person
Mhm.
and the person left, and then the policeman left. He didn't say anything,
I see,
but I know he found them.
found them, okay.
Yeah.
And that was in Greater Woods proper, that wasn't.
That
our
was
problem,
Greater
yeah.
Woods. That was right at the cul-de-sac somewhere. He was somewhere on that pond. I think, you know,
Maybe if I
away from the trails,
Hmm.
but it was really, really close.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're by that pond, you're
I mean, I was
close to trails.
getting afraid to walk, you know, around the corner 'cause because I didn't really
Maybe-
know where the shots were coming from.
maybe we need to put something in the kiosks. We don't have anything in the kiosks right now.
The trouble we run into is we need to be able to differentiate whether that's a
Target shooting
hunting
or
or a target shooting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because if it's hunting, it's allowed. Of course, they have to do it safely and follow all the other rules and be far enough away from homes and all that stuff too.
Mm.
So, but yeah. I did, when I had a conversation with former Chief Milligan, who lives somewhere out that way, he told me that when he's heard it, he's prepared to call or address the issue himself. I'll leave it at that. Okay? 'Cause I know he packs too, so.
I mean, nobody has a problem if it's a couple of shots, and even nearby, we're used to it. In the past, you know, we've heard, you know,
But
we don't like it, but you hear a few shots, someone's hunting, but this was going on and kept going on.
Mm-hmm.
But this is shotgun country. This is not rifle country. You can't use a 30-06 in those woods.
Yeah, and I can't identify from 2 miles away what I was hearing.
Yeah.
But it was semi-automatic.
Yeah.
Because it was, you know, just going through clip, going through clip, going through a clip.
Yeah, back in that area.
Yeah.
there, yeah.
And I mean, I was there for 3 hours, and it was the entire time.
Wow.
So,
That's pretty expensive.
yeah.
And it gets you edgy after a while, if you're hearing that for so long. As-
We've been over there, I mean, we're picking up 50 cal shells off the ground. I mean, there's someone firing big
Yeah.
weapons over there.
And I got an email from somebody who wishes to remain anonymous with lots of pictures, one of them being a license plate.
Oh.
And they hung what looks like election signs up in trees, and that's what they were shooting.
Oh.
So they're up in the trees.
So shooting up.
Up.
Right.
I mean, up.
And that area's
Okay.
got postings too.
Yeah.
It's posted, right? They're not supposed to be out there. It's posted.
They're probably using
But-
that sign as target practice too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we
All right.
need to have more patrols out there so the police can actually be there when it happens.
Tying it back into the last thing.
Yep.
Completely.
That was a great segue, I thought.
There you go.
Okay, anything else? Can you, are you gonna share any of that with the right people?
No, it's just,
Yeah,
Okay.
I already have.
Okay, cool. All right, any other business? And that takes us to the minutes of October the 6th. Anyone get a chance to review the minutes?
A little bit, yeah.
Cool, so, move them with,
move them with corrections.
all right,
Second.
Second.
seconded by, moved by Gage, seconded by Matt. All right, correct away.
All right, page 1, line 55. The site is the site. I think that probably the first "the" is supposed to
read
be
that,
this. This site is the site of an existing subdivision that would have expanded. Page 2, line 34. When asked if they'd be guide in, guide is G-U-Y-E-D. It's a guy wire, not guide as in this is where you go.
Okay.
Page 5, line 9. Some devices, not some fences.
Okay, devices instead of fences, yeah.
And line 11, after the very end of the line, which says fence, I believe there's supposed to be a comma after fence. Make that sentence read a little better. Staying on that page, line 30, it's a detention pond, not a tension pond.
Detention, right?
Detention pond.
Yeah, okay.
Line 31, it's supposed to be a grate, not a grade. Someone has placed a grade to try to combat the plugging of beaver. It's supposed to be a grate.
Okay.
And that was really it for me.
Matt, you gonna have any more?
No.
Mike?
Page 7, line 26.
Yep.
It's just a typo, reaching.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. Yep, got,
Looks like someone's
Yeah.
password.
And, I don't know if is there, in the back,
License plate.
back on page 4, line 2, is it heronries, is that right? It should be a heron rookery.
it's a rookery.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got it.
What line was it?
Line 2 on
Line
page
2.
4.
page 4.
So it should be heron rookeries. It's 2 words. Anything else? Tom? All right, so I'm gonna take you back to page 1, line 15. At that point, Tom had resigned, so Tom would not be a member that was absent. They should be removed. Tom Lehman should be removed on line 15. Line 25, I thought I noted that Commissioner Lehman had resigned and would not be in attendance any longer.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so I think that's, kind of looks like a cut and paste from a previous meeting minutes. Don was trying to be efficient, I think, so. Page 3, line 40. The end of that long sentence. They construct their shelters out of sticks and mud.
Muds.
Yeah, no muds. There's no plural of mud.
I read that and thought about it, and I was thinking, there could be different kinds of mud.
I guess so.
We have different soil types. When they're wet, they're different muds, right?
Well, there's the stuff they use for oil drilling.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, continue to page 4, line 15. There's a sentence in the middle, as an example, a stream that is, instead of it, is at least 0.8 kilometers. And then, still on page 4, line 24, if new dams, that data can continue to be added to the model over time. I'm not sure what the right thing there should say. If,
Are found?
maybe it should have been, if new dams, comma, that data can continue to be added to the model over time.
I think we're supposed to
Or
be probably something
semicolon?
like a are found is supposed
Yeah.
to be in that.
Dams are found,
New
okay.
dams are found,
Yeah, all right,
or located, or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Continuing over to page 5, line 25. Originally, Don had attached the map and the spreadsheet to the minutes, and I asked Sue to remove them from the minutes for 2 reasons. One, because it's draft,
Okay.
and 2, we don't normally put that kind of information as an attachment to the minutes, because then it becomes a part of the official record. I would prefer that it wasn't that way. If anyone prefers that they be added back, say so. But I'm thinking to adjust the minutes on line 25, remove the parentheses, copy attached, because they're not attached.
That's all gonna be public documents when it's turned over to us anyway, so.
Yeah. Okay,
Well, now, looking at that.
Yeah.
She starts, should there be a new paragraph there after that period? And plan summary on line 25? Because everything else is
Everything else is its
enumerated,
own.
is enumerated as a separate paragraph.
you're right,
Yeah,
yeah.
probably.
Yeah, this should be another paragraph, area 11.
This is versus area 11.
That makes sense. Okay, flipping the page to page 6, line 4. Bean Road and Wildcat Falls in the same sentence. Is
Oh,
that
that's true,
right?
that's not really the same.
No.
That's Courier Road.
Correct. And that was area 30 something on the,
Area 3 is Bean Road.
area 3 is, right, which makes it
Something
interesting.
doesn't
'Cause-
jive here.
right, because it was really all about Wildcat Falls. So I have a feeling that,
Maybe there was something missed.
no, well, maybe there's something missed, but either that or maybe because of the trying to listen on the audio, it was just difficult for Don to understand what was being said. So I'm thinking that on line 4, we should adjust it back to area, it's 30, or did we discuss Bean Road?
We did not.
I
No,
didn't think so, because it wasn't, yeah.
I don't think so either.
So, what is the area for Wildcat Falls? I think it's on the second
14.
page.
14.
Okay. All right, so what does it say?
Oh, Area 30
Area,
is Wildcat Falls. Okay, so it's probably meant to be Area 30.
yeah.
We have, what's 14?
It's another Wildcat.
Well, that's the other Wildcat Falls.
It's the culvert off Hemlock.
The culvert off Hemlock and the pond off Hemlock.
Yeah, there's really there's two separate structures there, that's why it's in
Right.
2 places.
Mm.
But
So
I
that's
think,
just
I think the one in question though was area 30.
Mm.
So it's area 30, and what road is it listed on area 30 in that thing?
It's off of Hemlock.
Off of Hemlock, okay. All right, I think Dawn has a copy of the spreadsheet, so she can get it adjusted, so it's area 30. All right, still on page 6, down to line 54, I think there should be a dollar sign in front of 21,000. Similar to how there's a dollar sign in a few other places in that paragraph. Page 7, between lines 52 and 53, I think we need a blank line just to separate the paragraph. Page 8, Line 636, Chairman Tenhaven noted he had forwarded to the commissioners. The word "the" should be added. And then on line 42, Chairman Tenhaven informed the commission he has been in communication, so the word "has" should be added. And that covers it. Any further discussion on the minutes? All those approved as amended, all those in favor of approval as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? That passes 4-0-1 with Tom Mahon abstaining. Okay, any members of the public to comment? Commissioner comments? Matt, anything?
Nope.
Gage?
Nope.
Tom?
No.
Mike?
Nope.
Right, well, I'll see some of you on Saturday, November 1st. up
Move to
in
adjourn.
Laconia.
Second?
Moved by Tom, seconded by Matt. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passes 5-0-0. We are adjourned at 8:50 PM.
Might as well. Farther this time.
I mean, I don't mind driving if you guys come up to my house.
You are probably the farthest north, right?
Yeah. Suspect, yeah. Yeah. Cindy and I are in the south end of town.
Yeah, I don't mind driving.
Are you staying to the end?
4 o'clock?
Yes, like quarter.
Probably, yeah. Everybody?